Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning with Vagaro Salon Software. And we're Catherine and Aileen from the Profitable Salon Owner. And of course, our motto is get salon owners profitable.
Fast.
How fast?
Very fast.
Really fast. And thank you to Vagaro for having us on this morning. Our topic today is something that is extremely interesting. It's about selling.
Yes.
You know, and in our business,
it's a dirty word.
It's a dirty word. Oh, do the next slide, Kat, because I love this. Here we are. We're the two blondes reveling in the springtime. In fact, driving over here this morning, Catherine, I've got to tell you, it is snowing in Victoria. Those pink blossoms are just
snowing. It's
gusting everywhere.
Snowing blossoms.
Now, just bragging a little bit, because do we not live in the most beautiful part of the world?
Yes, we live in an amazing place.
And you know, I got to say that when you get up here every day, you got to start saying to yourself, you know, you've already won the lottery when you live here.
I agree, Eileen. But I'm sure lots of people listening think the same about their
I'm sure
cities.
they do too. Okay, I'll stop bragging. Anyways, back to today's topic. We are going to talk about selling, the secret to closing the sale. And it is such a dirty word, isn't it?
It is a dirty, dirty word. And before we go any further, I have to apologize to everyone. I have been sick for the last 2 weeks. I actually completely lost my voice. And I have had
a presentation in Florida.
Yeah, I was presenting in Florida, believe it or not. I had to get up with the mic and croak out what I wanted to say. Anyway, I think I got it over. But anyway, if I cough, or Eileen is going to take probably most of this because I start coughing. So again, I apologize in advance.
No, honey, your croak is better than a lot of people's verbiage, so we'll take it.
Thank you.
But of course, you know, I have been selling all of my adult life in some form or another. And I want you to know that if you're working in this business, guess what? You're selling as well. Because the moment that you have people in your chair, it means that some form of a sale took place.
Yes.
And
really, because I've owned my own businesses for so many years, I was consultant in the industry and went out and I've talked to so many salon owners, stylists, esthetician, and I used to hear this on a regular basis. I am not a salesperson. Yes, you are.
And I have to say exactly the same thing in the hundreds of salons that I have been into over the years. Invariably, the word is, we're not salespeople. I don't sell. I don't like to sell. All these kinds of phrases. And it really makes me laugh because really, we're in the business of selling. We're selling our services.
And we're selling ourselves.
Exactly.
Because that's what we do. You have to make a connection with someone. So you really are selling yourself.
Yeah. So one of the big things that Kath and I want to get across to you today is to take the anxiety out of what selling is, because perhaps it's not really what you think it is. Selling is really a process of a conversation. Really, it's really the whole process from the time you meet somebody to the time that you interact with them. Believe me, if a client is coming back to you the second time, it's because you sold yourself. So I really want you to take a look at your client base and you think, wow, I must be a pretty good salesperson because I have all these clients coming to me. Because that's what selling is. Selling is really more than anything else. It's a process. It is a structured conversation from beginning to end. And I think that actually leads into the next slide perfectly, don't you?
I do. But one thing I wanted to say before we go into the next slide is I want you to just stop and think about where is it that you feel that the sale actually closes? Where do you try and close your sale?
Well, I think most people tend to try and close their sale at the very end.
And you go into salons all the time, Eileen, and what do you hear?
Do you want to buy some shampoo? Or do you want to rebook? And to me, those are the most dreaded words in the salon or the spa, because it means that you haven't really set yourself or your client up for success, because a completed sales transaction is really a form of success. And, I really believe that in our industry, we are incredibly lucky, because if we do have clients sitting at our stations or our treatment rooms, then the prospecting has already been done.
Yes.
Because part of selling is prospecting, and prospecting means finding the clients to actually do business with.
And that's the hard part.
That's the hardest part of selling, is finding the prospects, the clients to come in and sit and have services with you. So that work is done for you. If you've got a client sitting in your chair, the prospecting part of it is done. Now the rest is up to you.
You need to be saying hallelujah.
Yeah.
However this person got here, it's my responsibility and my job to be able to educate.
There is the
educate.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
that is
the
word.
And get the word. If you don't think of yourself as a salesperson, think of yourself as an educator.
Exactly. Because here's what Kath and I really believe is that, we talk about selling, but really let's change that word into education.
Yeah.
Because if we educate our clients the way that we should while we've got them with us, selling takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And this slide, research tells us that 70% of customers make a buying decision based on how they are treated. And that is from the moment they walk in the door. That's where their buying decision starts.
And it's something that we really forget about, because we so take for granted, who we are and what our businesses are all about, that when someone walks in, we tend to sort of, be kind of blasé about, oh yeah, here's Mrs. Smith, come for an appointment or whatever. Yeah, come on in, Mrs. Smith. Let's, pitter patter, let's get at her. And I think, that taking for granted our clients is such a huge mistake. And it doesn't matter how many times that your client is coming back to you. You must treat every single client as if it's their first time in the salon.
Absolutely. And, I'm sure if any of you have been on before, you've heard me tell this story of a client that had come to my salon for years and gone to see the same person. And one day, Jeanette was at the back of the salon when Mrs. Levin came in, and instead of walking up to the front and walking back with Mrs. Levin, she crooked her finger to say, come on back.
Yeah.
She just motioned with her finger. Mrs. Levin never came back. She did call me to tell me why she wasn't coming back.
Which was very nice
said,
of her.
No one does that to me. Not my husband, not my kids, no one.
So, you really take that story under advisement, because if 70% of our customers are making a decision based on how they're treated, do you not want to treat every 10 out of 10 of your clients like they are absolute gold? Why let 3 escape?
Yeah.
Right?
Because 3 clients that escape, if that's a color client, that could be 8 times a year, or 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Let's say $100, that's $600. If they buy product, that could be $800, and times that by 3. That's a lot of money to lose.
It is. And that's really, estimating it on the low side too. So,
that is, but yeah. I was just being,
you were being kind of nice.
Yeah.
So we can't let those dollars walk out the door, but how do we keep more of the dollars inside our own 4 walls of our business, right?
Yeah.
So it starts at the very, very beginning, from the moment that our clients come into the door. That's where the sale begins.
Yeah. So if you're somebody that gets palpitations, the further into your service you get, and you know that you're going to have to exit them, and you think that's where the sale's made, we're here to tell you, you're doing it backwards.
You got it. Because your sales presentation actually starts at the very beginning. And I was telling Kath earlier about an example of a hardcore sales that I was in when I was back in my early 20s. I actually sold photocopiers, which is a really, really hard business. And it is, they train you to to have a very, very specific conversation with the customer. And you have to take this customer through this whole conversation and finally get them to sign this piece of paper saying they're going to buy your product. And I was just a nervous wreck. I mean, I went months before I could actually find the courage to use the language that they had taught me. And I finally, in this one presentation, was actually using the verbiage that they had taught me. And at the end, I actually made a sale. And I was so red-faced and I was just sweating buckets because I was so outside my comfort zone. But when I actually ended up making the sale and developing a customer and having a relationship, I was so excited because all of a sudden I thought, wow, the process works. So I want you to understand that what we're talking about today, it works. The process works.
Absolutely. So trust. And that's really what you're asking people to do.
You got it.
Is trust you. And it begins and ends with a great experience. Because if you do not give them a great experience, the trust is not built.
You got it. So right from the moment that someone sits down with you and we begin our conversation, this is actually where the sale begins.
Yeah.
Right? So what are you going to say?
What are you going to say?
Exactly. What are you going to say?
So we want to take you through 5 steps to a successful close.
I think that's a great idea. Oh, look at that. The pathway to success.
And it is. It's a path.
It is.
And you can't skip steps, because if you skip steps, it's going to be that much more difficult to close at the end.
Right. And here's the other thing. As I was saying in my little example, sometimes sort of changing the way we do things can be very uncomfortable. But if we do step outside of our comfort zone and do the things that we have to do, we get to where we want to be and we actually end up having a really successful career. Because let's face it, I truly believe that if you don't have clients to practice on or to create beauty for, you're not in business. You don't have you can't. You have nothing. You got nothing, honey. You can't call yourself
a business.
No, exactly.
Or professional.
No.
And the other thing about that, I believe that if you are never uncomfortable, you are not growing.
Well, that is, there's a saying. It says, do something that makes you uncomfortable every single day. And it is so true. And it is amazing, though, what happens when you step outside your comfort zone, because you grow exponentially. So challenge yourself every single day. When we go through the steps today and you think, oh, gosh, I could never do that, challenge yourself a little bit today. And then challenge yourself a little bit more tomorrow. And every day, just challenge yourself that little bit. Sometimes it's just changing one word. Sometimes it's changing one phrase. Sometimes it's changing a habit. Yeah. But if you challenge yourself to make that slight difference, you will be amazed at how much you grow and how much your business grows as a result of it.
And I will tell you, in all the years that I've had my business and in all the young people that we have put through our program, the ones that are the most successful every single time, hands down, bar none, are the ones that actually learn and push themselves and get uncomfortable. Because if I watch the ones that stay in their little box, they get their little comfort zone, whether it be ever in their treatment room or in the salon, and they never really get to the level that they could. But the girls that really push themselves or would come to me and say, okay, so I need help with this. I need better language for this part. Those are the people that are booked, that the clients take product home, and that their clients are more loyal.
And they come back on a regular basis, which means that you have a business that you can depend on. That has got to be the most important thing that we can offer. Yeah. So we're asking you to really think about every client that sits in your chair, that you follow these 5 steps. So first of all, we're looking at the greeting. And that's not crooking your finger from the back of the salon. Come on down.
Yeah. Come on down.
Or here's
the price is right.
Yeah, here's one of my favorites too. Is from the front desk. Someone yells to the back, "Hey, Susie, your 2:00 is here."
Yeah. Not good language.
No, it totally takes away. How do you think the client feels? Is this really the beginning of a fantastic relationship? And remember, when we talk about 70% of the consumers make a buying decision based on how they're treated. So let's make sure that we treat our clients like the gold that they are. Get up out of your chair, go and see them, greet them at the front.
Shake their hand.
Shake their hands. Call them by name.
Introduce yourself.
You got it.
You know, like make the relationship, like cement it right there with a firm handshake, or touch them on the shoulder as you're walking back with them. You need to establish that touch.
And that all of a sudden that little bubble that you create within the salon.
Yeah.
You know, and that one-on-one, because this is the first step to closing the sale.
Yes, it is. Second is my.
This is her baby.
This is my baby, because I think everything is made. It's make or break in the consultation. And if you are not doing a consultation, give yourself a slap upside the head right now.
Step over here. We'll do that for you.
Because seriously, the consultation is where the sale is made or broken.
Right. And let's really talk about that. Let's really break that down. Okay, why is it happening here, and what makes it so important? Well, first of all, we are going to sit down, and one of the first things you do in a sales relationship is you ask your customer, what is your expectation, and what is it that you're looking for? Go to a car lot and you'll find the same thing. Well, tell me what kind of car you're looking for, Catherine.
I want a Ferrari.
I love that about you. Yay, commission.
But I only have $25.
Okay. Would you like to borrow one for an hour?
So then we can go back and forth. But here's my belief with the consultation. We need to set ourselves apart. If you need to have a consultation form, you need to have a clipboard, you need to have a stool, or you need to bend down to get yourself to the same level as your client. Again, it's all about scripting. If you don't have a consultation form, at the end of this, we will give you our email. Email us and I will send you what we use. For sure, because in that consultation are all these phrases that are extremely important that you ask. Because first of all, you're going to ask your client what it is that they're expecting to happen. Yeah. Right? Because how can you live up to their expectations if you have no idea what it is that they want? Yeah. And if you do a really elaborate hairstyle for someone and they're only willing to spend 5 minutes a day on it, you need to rethink. So you've just lost the sale, right? Because they're not coming back. No. So the first thing that you have to do is really find out what it is that they're looking for, because now you want to live up to their expectations. You have to listen. Right. Listen. Because, once you establish the expectations, that's the service. Yeah. That's where you live up to your expectations, right? Yeah. And I think we've got, as we go along, we've got all of these. So here are the 5: the greeting, the consultation, the service, which is a given. We have to have a service because that's what's going to take us. The follow-up to everything that you've done. And then the close. That's where the ask comes in. For sure. Or the assume comes in. Yes. So we will go over all these things as we move through the steps. So the consultation, I've made it really easy. We've got it. You sit at eye level, use a clipboard and a consultation form. Get good at listening. Listen, and repeat back. Because 9/10 of the world's problem is communication. Actually, lack of communication, not being able to really understand what it is that your customer is looking for. And that's true in any business. So when we say listen and repeat back, we really mean that. So Catherine, from what we've been talking about, what I understand you're looking for today is, and then you feed it back. And you make sure that you understand that when they say blonde, you understand what shade of blonde they're talking about. If they say red, you understand what shade of red. I mean, it's crucial. And excuse me, I believe that pictures are crucial when you're talking to people about things like that, because what you think of as a cool blonde, they may pick something out that's actually a warm blonde. Exactly. Because they don't know. But again, communication. And when I talk about educate, when Aileen and I talk about educate, we need you to practice WWB. I call it WWB. Aileen has another acronym for it, but WWB is simply every single time your hand picks up a bottle of whatever, you are going to say, this is what I am using. This is why I am using it. And this is the benefit that you're going to experience. It doesn't matter whether you're doing hair, whether you're doing skin, whether you're doing a pedicure. I don't care what you're doing. What, why, and the benefit.
Even right down to what the service that you're doing. You know, I can't tell you in the years before I joined the beauty industry, I would go to the salon and have a service, and they would be doing something, and I would think, why are they doing that? Well, why are they cutting that piece of hair? What's that going to look like? And inside I would have this kind of anxiety that, you know, so I really believe even when we're presenting the service, our clients don't know what we're doing. We assume that our knowledge is widespread, but it's not. So even when, say, for example, if you pick up a pair of texturizing shears, explain your tool and why you might be using it. Because, you know, I'm going to use texturizing shears today because when we discussed your shape earlier, you said you wanted to have fullness or volume, and these shears are going to help me create that for you. So explain to your client, because all of it is about establishing a relationship. And also because, again, it's like what, why, and benefits is, this is why I'm doing it. And the benefits of this are, right? You can see
will have more volume.
You will have more volume and your style will be easier to work with. So really, really practice WWB.
Yeah, I think it's critical. And we all get off on a tangent sometimes of talking to our clients, especially if it's not if it's a client that we've seen on a regular basis. You know, you talk about the weather, you talk about your family, you talk about their family, blah, blah, blah. We have to bring it back. It's business. They're not friends. You may think that even if your friends come and sit in your chair while they're there, it's business.
Exactly.
It's a business transaction.
And treat them like the little gold mine that they are.
Yeah.
Right.
So WWB.
No matter what you do.
Yeah. What, why, and the benefit to them.
You got it.
There you go. I was just going to say, you know, like I'm very nosy. I like to know everything that's going on, and I will say,
really, I'm so surprised.
I've had estheticians, you know, say to me, or not speak at all in a facial, and I really like to know what they're doing and what they're using.
Yes.
So I now say to them at the beginning, I would appreciate it if you would let me know what it is you're using and why you're using it as we go through. I think that's something that you could all ask a client. Is this something that you would like me to do, or do you like silence? I think, again, ask questions.
You got it.
You know, because I really feel cheated if I go through the whole thing and I don't really have any clue what was used on me.
Exactly, so, because, you know, inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, and I'm an inquiring mind. Trust me. All right, Aileen, I'll let you.
Yes, well, ACT. We love this acronym because it really, really sums up really what the consultation can do for you. Because we need to observe, analyze, conclude, and determine the treatment. So your observation is, you know, really the overall look. You know, take a really close look at your client. See what it is that, you know, the way your client looks. Because from this, you can establish perhaps their fashion trends. Mm-hmm. You're going to sort of see, you know, are they modern? Are they sporty, you know, princess,
yeah,
mature,
all of those. Well,
all of those things.
But observation. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're doing a facial, whether you're doing a pedicure, whether you're doing hair.
Because it will help you direct, you know, what it is that you're going to direct your client to. So you really have to, you know, observe that. And then from there, you're going to analyze the information that you're observing.
Oh.
right?
Totally.
So, and that includes, their face shape, feel their hair texture, the whole thing, right? You've got to really take a good look and analyze the palette or the canvas that you're going to be working with.
Yeah. And then you're going to come to your conclusion. So that means, that's where you're going to make your recommendation.
Right.
And that's where you're going to come to an agreement. Then the T is for treatment. So you're going to agree to the treatment that you're going to use.
You got it.
So OACT. But
OACT.
You'll notice the last 3 letters spell ACT.
You got it. And because nothing happens without action, does it? Nothing moves forward without action.
Yeah. All right. So this is a step that I think a lot of people miss.
Not just miss, don't even think about as a process within the service. And I think it is absolutely the most crucial thing that we can do in the salon or spa. And what you have to really think about, this is after you've come back to the chair, you've completed your service, or you're in the treatment room, wherever it is that you are. And this is where we follow up on everything that we have done since we started out.
So you have to reaffirm your goals for this visit.
So you go right back to the beginning. Now, before we carry on with this, I think there's one really important step that everybody really needs to understand is that we don't take off the client's drape until we finish the follow-up. Because the moment that we take off the drape, this is like a subliminal clue. We don't take off the drape because the client perceives that the service and everything is over. And the visit is over. And we're not done. We're not done. This is where everything is completed and signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yep.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
This is really where you are going over everything. If you have done a really good job all the way through the visit, and you have used your WWB all the way through, and you are, done it exactly what they wanted, this is where the close happens, and it happens organically. It's not something you have to force. It's nothing like that.
Because you already set the steps in motion. When you were going through your consultation, you've already discussed their expectations. You've already discussed the service of what it is that they were looking for. As you moved through their visit and shared with them all the products that you were using, all the techniques that you were using, you have already discussed everything. So when we sit down again, we are just reaffirming all the things that we said in the consultation.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's like, now, Catherine, when you came in today, you talked about wanting to have an asymmetrical cut with lots of volume at the crown. And are you happy with the results that we've achieved today?
Yes, although I do think this side looks a little flatter.
Well, that could be just the way that we finished it. Let's see if we can make a few adjustments here. I also want to make sure, Catherine, that you're really comfortable with this new style when you're at home.
I think I might be. So let me see. You used a root booster.
I did, because here's the thing with a root booster, Kath, it's going to help make your hair really get that volume at the crown that you really like.
So, and do you think that's something I should be using at home?
Oh, no, you should never use root booster at home. I'm sorry, I just lost the whole train of the stage, didn't I?
Yeah.
But, how fabulous. Could you imagine how wonderful it would be to have a client in your chair asking you to please sell me product? And you know what, Kath and I have run into this where clients are sitting in the chair and they are asking to be sold product, and the stylist completely ignores them and doesn't offer them product or whatever.
Completely misses it.
Because truly, like Catherine, a root boost is going to really make the style a lot easier to handle at home, because what it's going to do is it's going to give that extra lift and volume.
And remember, we talk about, that it's all to do with the experience. If they go home, you can give them a great style. You can give them a great facial. If they go home and they don't have the correct tools, liquid tools or facial cream to maintain that and to do it themselves, guess what? You failed.
You've failed. And guess what? If they're not happy, they aren't going to come back. They might maybe try you one more time or whatever, but because they can't handle their hair, you failed. So we must sit down with them and make sure that, first of all, that you have lived up to the expectations that they set out for you at the beginning, and that they are comfortable with what they've got to go home with, and that they've got the products to support it.
Totally. Now, we've got quite a lot of people on today. Does everybody follow this process? Like, be honest with us. Do you follow a process or do you wing it?
Yeah, and because I think that it's when we wing it is that we lose we lose control. We totally lose control when we wing it, because then we're not in control.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is that back when we were doing the consultation, we would this is where it's really important also to find out, the kind of budget that your clients have in having their hair done, because maintenance is everything. You cannot give, and you mentioned it earlier, Kath, you cannot sell a high maintenance hairdo to, say, a student who's only going to come back twice a year. You've got to find that range for them, because it's got to be able to suit them. So when you're doing your follow-up, you're going to know that this client could probably, the best thing I can do is make sure she's got a really good shampoo at home. Or that with a high maintenance client who can afford to come back 6 or 7 times a year or whatever, that they're going to need a heck of a lot more products to go home with. And those are the things that we have to weigh out. Wendy says, can you move that thingy, Kath?
Yeah.
I think you can do that there. I just want to see what Wendy says.
Sorry.
There. See, my mistake in the conversation is getting too personal, right? Not talking about products and worrying too much about their pocketbook. That is one of the biggest mistakes that we all make, is we assume that what our clients can afford to pay. And you do follow a process, Suzanne, and try to rebook while a chemical process is going on. And those are fantastic. Yeah. And Wendy, though, you are not alone, and we have to really, hold back our tongues sometimes and really think about the client and their experience, rather than trying to tell our own stories. We all have that rush to tell our own stories, right?
Yeah. And often, we don't like silence, so we try and fill it with something. Mm-hmm. If you have a process that you follow, you become more comfortable with a little bit of silence in there too.
You
right?
do.
And so that's why I am really big on having a process to from start to finish, because if you're trying to close the sale at the front desk and you haven't followed a process, your chances of success are slim.
Very much so, because again, you're winging it. But truly, and selling has been around since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
Since probably since the first caveman proposed to a female. He's selling himself for marriage.
There you go.
Because all of it, everything that we do is really some form of a sales interaction, right? So the second thing that we want to do in the follow-up is we have to go over the product prescription. Now, I know a lot of you say, I don't like to sell and I don't like to do retail or whatever, but believe me, the reason that we want our clients to have the retail product in their hand is because they're going to buy it anyway. So why not use yours? What we've discovered through statistics is that the loyalty of your client is actually completely tied in to whether they're using your products at home.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, I have a really big salon and spa, and we have a huge front area. And I can't tell you the amount of people who come in, they've had their hair done somewhere else, and they're looking for a product. Because guess what? Their stylist or their facialist did not complete their job.
Exactly. And I have to share with you an experience I had, probably 30 years ago. And I'd gone to see I'd moved to a new city, and I was looking for a new stylist, and I went to see this lovely lady, and she gave me the most incredible fantastic short haircut, like really cute and volumized. And at the very end, she reached over and took this pot off of her counter and wiped her hands through it, and then, you know, sort of spiked up my hair a little bit. And I tell you guys, I looked amazing. I was so thrilled, and I said, "Oh my God, what was that?" And she's, "Oh, it's hair wax." And then she screwed the lid back on and put it back on the counter. And I thought, oh, I guess that's a professional product. That's not available for me, because what do I know about the beauty business? I'm a client, right? So the next time I was out grocery shopping, I picked up some Tame gel.
Which was heavy.
I know. It was $1.29 though.
Yeah.
You know, it was a really good price. And do you think that I ever developed the ability to create that hairstyle at home?
Absolutely not.
And guess what? I never went back to that stylist. What's really funny is when I started working in the beauty industry, this person became one of my customers. I always think that's funny.
Yeah. And one of somebody else just put a little note up here and saying that they do have regular conversation with clients, but also blend the sale in when they make mention of something related to what I'm doing. And that's good, but I will tell you, you have to, don't wait for them to make mention of something. You have to create the opportunity.
Right. Because what you're doing is you're letting them actually have control of the visit.
Yeah. So you need to, you know, again, and if you
go back to WWB.
Yeah, WWB, it works. Honestly, it works. If you just do it, it works. I have had people so resistant when I was doing consulting, and we did a whole exercise, and they did it, and then they took the product, they put it on the front desk, they followed up, and the client picked up and they went, "Oh my God, it works."
Yeah.
You know? It works. It really does work. So don't just do it once, and you're gonna be a little awkward to start with. Remember, we're gonna push you outside that comfort zone, but it's critical, and it's a process. And once it takes how many days? 21 days
to create
new habits. So it's gonna take you 21 days to create this new habit.
Now, when you're going over product prescription, because, you know, this is where everybody really falls apart, because they think, oh my God, I'm selling product. But really, here's what product prescription really looks like. Now, Catherine, the products that we worked with today are, I use this shampoo because of yada yada. This is the conditioner we use because of yada yada. And I just went over the products that we used. And that's it. That's all you have to say. You don't have to say, do you want to buy this or whatever? Because if you've done your job throughout the thing, then it's now their decision on whether they're going to take something home.
Yeah.
You're not pressuring them or whatever. These are the products. Because they might say, oh, you know what, I'd love to take all of them home, but, you know, my budget says one. I said, well, out of all of the things that we've talked about today, this particular product is the one I think you would benefit the most from.
Yeah, this is where we can start.
This is where we'll get started. And then perhaps over, you know, our next few visits, we can incorporate some of these other products for you.
And one of my other teaching points that I teach a lot is, you know, you have clients that say, oh, I have a sink full, under the sink, my sink is full of products. I'd like to use some of those products up. And I always say, great, not a problem. And then I put my hand on their shoulder and I go, just know if your style isn't working for you, it's probably the products. So what did I just do? I just set myself up for success, not failure.
You got it.
Because I let them know that if they can't handle it, it's the product. Come on back and I will set you up with the correct products.
You got it.
And that is gold.
That is,
if you're not doing that, that's worth this whole webinar, really, because the client then doesn't think that it's your fault.
You got it, right? Because here's one of the most important phrases that you can use when you are prescribing and educating your client on products, is because, because clients always say, oh, my hair is horrible, right? And they say, oh, my hair's this or my hair's that. And it's always in a negative way, it seems, right? But if we say, oh, no, you actually have beautiful hair, you just haven't learned how to cope with your hair, or cope with your style, or cope with your texture. So it's because everybody thinks, oh, it's not that. But really what it is they truly haven't learned to deal with the texture or whatever it is. density of their hair.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Now, rebooking, of course, Catherine, you do have the best story ever on rebooking.
Which one?
Veronica?
Oh, Victoria.
Oh, Victoria.
Yeah.
I knew it was a V word.
Again,
Victoria.
it all comes down to language.
You got it.
I had a Russian girl who used to work for me, and great person, loved her, but she could not rebook anybody to save her life. And so we had a meeting, and she said, Catherine, she said, nobody rebook for me. I don't know. I ask, I do it all. So I watched her when she was talking to clients. So she takes a client up to the front. She was great at selling, at putting product in their hands, but she couldn't get them to rebook. And she'd take them to the front. Wrong place to do this. And she'd say, you want to rebook or no?
I love this story.
She didn't even know she was saying it.
Exactly.
But she just answered the question for them. So you have to be really conscious. That's why you need to keep the cape on, and you need to do that before they get to the front desk.
Right. Or no, they won't be buying.
This style is going to lose shape in 5 to 6 weeks. So if you are, interested in keeping this, then I will need to see you again in 6 weeks. Is this time 6 weeks from now a good time for you? That's it. You didn't ask. You said.
You're prescribing what it is that it's going to take for them, what they need for their hair needs or their facial needs, right?
Education.
Like the hairstyle that we've created for you today is going to grow out and lose its shape probably in the next 6-7 weeks. So my suggestion or recommendation is that we book up your next visit within that time frame. Now,
Absolutely.
What works best for you, the beginning or the end of the week? Oh, and that actually leads right into that perfect close. Here we are, because, we talk about the assumptive close. And what is the assumptive close?
You just assume.
You assume.
That you did such a good job that they are going to take everything that you recommended.
You got it.
That you educated them on.
See, in our business, we assume a lot of things. We make all sorts of assumptions about our clients.
Well, Wendy touched on that.
Yes.
Worrying too much about their pocketbook.
Yep.
We assume they can't afford it.
Exactly. Oh, they've spent this much money on there. They couldn't possibly buy anything else from me. It's just too much money for them. And you do yourself such a huge disservice. In fact, I have to share this little story about what happened in a salon a couple of years ago. A client phoned the owner and said, I am so upset about what happened in your salon last week that I'm never coming back again. Well, here's what happened is this, she was a young mom, and she was having her hair done by the stylist, and next to her was another client having her hair done, and the client next to her was being offered all sorts of products and in education by the stylist who was doing her hair. And this young mom didn't get any recommendations, nothing. She wasn't offered anything. And so she said to the owner in this phone call, she says, I was so upset that nobody offered me the opportunity to come back or offered me product. And when the owner went to speak to the stylist involved, the stylist said, well, because, she was a young mom, I just didn't think she had any money. So I didn't want to ask her. Well, hello. That was such a good story, though, because it really, really is indicative of what we do. We make all sorts of weird assumptions about our clients.
And we don't know what's important to people. And I mean, I'm in the hair loss business, and, I sell human hair wigs, which can be a ridiculous amount of money. But who am I to judge? What my job is to show people all the options for them, all of the options, and let them make the decision.
You got it.
Because I can't judge. It's really interesting. And I've always said, and another story I share all the time is a lady that we used to work with. She looked like a bag lady.
Yeah.
And high-end clothing store next door to me. She used to go into this high-end clothing store and nobody would look at her because she looked like a bag lady.
Shades of Pretty Woman.
This lady, oh no, it's got worse. This lady was lived on the richest street in our city. Went out, got into her Jag and drove away. She was very wealthy. You would never, ever, ever know that to look at her. So don't assume.
Never. The only thing that we ever want to assume is that our clients want what we have. They want our skills. They want our products. They want to be part of our business. They want to be part of the atmosphere that you've created for them. That is the only thing that you ever have to assume. And Vanessa's actually asked a really good question is how do you explain if they rebook in the salon, you waive the deposit, but if they book online, they will have to pay it. I think what, the most important thing in booking in the salon is the way that we phrase the question. Is first of all, when you're doing your follow-up, you explain to your client what it is that they need to maintain their style or their color. I'm a blonde, for example, Vanessa, and so I know that in probably 6 weeks, I'm going to have major regrowth. And because of my age, also, I can afford to be in the salon on a pretty regular basis. So, I need to make sure that I have an appointment. So the stylist should be able to say, look, Aileen, you're going to have some serious regrowth in about 6 weeks. So my recommendation is that we make an appointment for you in that time frame. Now, what works best for you, the beginning or the end of the week? So never do you actually ask if they want to rebook, you direct them. And I like to use what we call an alternative close. And the alternative close is giving them 2 options. So as I said, this is what you're going to need. I recommend that we make an appointment in that time frame. What works best for you, the beginning or the end of the week? Morning or afternoon?
Yeah. So
1 or 3.
Alternative closes are great. And the other thing, Vanessa, just to make it maybe a little easier for you, one thing that we do with all of our clients to get them into the habit of rebooking, because again, for them, it's a habit, right? It's a habit.
Once they've done it once, they'll do it all the time.
And you have to keep reinforcing it. You can put a bowl or whatever it is that you want to put out, and if you book that day, you go into a draw, and your draw can be for your next service. We've got various different things that we use, but we always have that rebooking contest going. It just makes it easier to get people to commit that date. And I think that anywhere that we do this with, they see their rebook percentage go up. So, and you're taking it. She's taking a chance booking online because you might not get the time you want. Waiving the deposit is good, but I think if you want something just a little bit more contest,
it sort of nails the whole thing shut for you. But I truly believe follow our clue on telling their client what it is that they need, and then making your recommendation for time frame and following it up with an alternative question. And I think you'll be amazed at how easy it is, because once you say what works best for you, the beginning or the end of the week, they're drawn to answer that question. Usually the beginning of the week works best for me. Well, mornings or afternoons? Usually, I think mornings are better for me. Well, great. Let's have the front desk make up an appointment for you at that time frame. And then you've done it. You've already done it. But never once did you have to say, did you want to rebook?
Yeah.
So, we are guiding our clients to where we want to go.
Totally. And ask and you shall receive.
You got it. Ask and you shall receive. That's the whole thing. And I cannot stress how important the rebooking process is, because we talked about how important retail is, because that's totally tied into your retention as well. But if you rebook your client, you have secured your future. Having a full book, a roster of clients that are already listed in your appointment calendar, that's money in the bank. That's money that you can
take that to the bank, because you know that
you've got a future.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, and Charmel says, I so agree with everything you just said. It's a statement of, or matter of fact, in rebooking their next appointment. You got it. It's matter of fact. You got it. And that's working with what we call an assumptive close. And don't you love that? The assumptive E-close.
E-clothes. Oh, I know. Sorry. I
You meant to
do
change that.
all my presentations in Keynote, and then I have to flip them into PowerPoint. So sometimes it's a little wacky sometimes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the takeaways. So the takeaways. Closing the sale starts at the beginning of the client interaction.
Sorry, Wendy. Yes, you talk about you do everything before you take off the cape, because it's not over till it's over. And when you take that cape off, your client has emotionally moved on.
Yeah, you have given them permission
to
leave.
Everything happens before they take off their cape.
Okay. And if it's facials, or you need to talk to them in the treatment room. We take our clients back to our waiting lounge, and we have a basket. We sit down, we talk to them about all the products that we used.
Yeah.
So we can go through. You just have to find what works for you. So closing the sale starts at the beginning of the client interaction. Always, always, always.
And I hope you can really see that that's where it truly starts with the greeting.
Yeah. Educate, don't sell. What, why, and benefit.
Right.
The consultation is critical in building trust. Please do not skip this.
And look it's right in the middle here, which makes it is the standout. Everything is built around it. If you think about a pyramid, this is the consultation that is sitting at the top of the pyramid, and these other ones are what.
And we have a whole webinar dedicated to consultations, if you really want to do this and get good at it. So consultation. I don't care if the client has come in for 6 years. Sit them down. Are we making any changes today? Are you up for some suggestions?
You got it. Don't forget that, one of the number one reasons that clients leave a stylist, boredom.
They're bored.
Because they haven't been asked or have suggestions made to them on what they might do to change. And you know what? All of us need some kind of a change. If I'm a color client, the changing seasons, like as I said, I'm blonde, but perhaps I need to have a slightly different shade of blonde in the summer than I do in the winter.
Yeah.
I actually like to be a little darker in the winter than I am in the summer. So, everybody needs that opportunity to make changes. And so in a follow-up, in a consultation with a client who's coming back to you, your questions are always going to be based along the lines of, tell me a little bit about how you made out with the style we created for you last time. Did you have any challenges? Is everything, follow up.
Because you're interested and you're listening and, all of those things. So, and really that's what's in it for me.
Yes, with them we call it.
With them.
What's in it for me? So what's in it for you is, first of all, a really secure client professional relationship that is going to be a solid income generating relationship. Because let's face it, you guys, you are in business.
To make money.
We all have to earn a living. And what's in it for you is developing a good, solid business built on relationships. And that's the beauty of our industry, is that we are a business that is built on relationships. And that's what you get out of it.
Oh. And assume if you have done your job, it's a given. You don't have to sell. You have to educate. And really that's what it is. And it takes away the fear factor when you get to the front desk, because I see it all the time, and so does Aileen. You can see it, like they're like a deer in the headlights, and it's going like, how do I ask this? How do I ask this? And then they come out with something inane like,
do you want to buy some shampoo?
Oh yeah, do you need some shampoo? And I just want to hit somebody when I hear that. And I know you do. Like you get it's so frustrating.
It is, because you don't if you've gone through the whole the correct process, you've done your job, and then it's the client's decision on whether they buy or not.
Absolutely.
Take the strain out of the relationship.
Take the stress away from yourself,
right,
by just learning the steps.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're probably not telling you anything that you really already didn't know. But again, it's just sometimes,
layering sometimes.
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and sometimes you hear it differently. So, if you've heard all this before, every time you listen to something like this, and it doesn't matter who's saying it, you'll pick nuggets out of it. And that's in anything that we're doing. Like an hour spent with us is not a waste of anybody's time. If you get one nugget from this,
we will be so happy for you,
because we want you to be successful. So I hope what we're saying has made sense to you. Sometimes we just need reminders, because we all know this information.
We do. And truly, it is just layering. And, you know, it's really interesting, because I do find that every time that we sit down and do webinars or workshops or classes, Kath, I find that, you know, I'm learning as well. Every time we regurgitate information,
yeah, for sure,
I relearn it, and I think, oh, you know, like I could use that again. Oh, thanks, Charmel. That's so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're passionate about what we do, and we just want you to be
passionate too,
successful.
And we also want you to know that, who knows, maybe one day we'll be sitting in your chair.
one never knows.
One never knows, and then you'll be surprised.
So again, if anybody would like the consultation form that we have, you can contact us at info@theprofitablesalonowner.com. If you would like the PDF of this webinar, just to walk yourself through the steps again, you can email us at theprofitablesalonowner.com, info@theprofitablesalonowner.com. And we hope that you enjoyed this hour that you spent with us.
And here's the other thing too, as if you go onto our website, www.theprofitablesalonowner.com. I love saying that, don't you?
Yes.
Rolls off the tongue. We do put out a newsletter every Monday. It's absolutely no charge. It's us giving out our little nuggets to give back to our industry. But if you go onto our main page at our website, you can sign up on the right-hand side, and every Monday morning at 6 a.m. PST, we put out a fabulous newsletter just filled with information, and we'd love to see your name on our list.
And Wendy, I am glad we gave you what you needed today.
Yes, thanks so much for saying so, Wendy. That's awesome. And we look forward to seeing you guys next month. We'll be back to the second Monday in April with our next webinar.
I think we're going to talk about knowing your numbers.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, because we want you to make money. Love being here today, you guys. Thank you, Vagaro, for allowing us this time. We're so grateful to be associated with such an amazing company. Take care, everybody. See you next month.
Bye now.